live, I have to connect. Amazon, this multi-billion-dollar company, doesn't know how to do this without me having to use my phone to connect the stream. It's crazy. So here we go. I'm going to remove Eric and John. Just stand by if you would in the green room. Enjoy the hors d'oeuvres.
Try the veal.
We'll share.
Try the veal. Okay, hang on. I couldn't come up with a graphic that was a good background graphic. So here we go. Maybe waiting for it's connected. Okay, here we go. See, it takes a minute. So ghetto, what's wrong with Amazon? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. And we are live tonight on Amazon Live with the one and only Justin Benton. Justin, welcome to Amazon Live, brother.
Well, thanks for having me, Ken, my friend, my Grow Live brother. It's so great to see you. I'm so excited to be here. Who knew you could go live on Amazon? But we sure are right now.
I knew.
That's right. It's your show.
So I think this might be my 50th or so. This is pretty cool. So let's talk about your new book, and I'm going to give you full screen here in just a second because I do want you to hold that book up. But I'm going to throw a graphic up on the screen for everybody watching. There are links in the carousel beneath this video that are directly to these books. Now, we're going to talk about this because I don't know. We just need to talk about this. The price of the book is 200. See, I can't even say it without cracking up, my voice cracking here. $250 for the book. Justin, now I got to say before everybody leaves the live stream, there is the Kindle version for $4.20. So I sprung for that. I've got that. So, but dude, talk about this inner circle with Russell Brunson, why it's so big for you, and what in the world inspired you to write this book, man?
Well, so being quickly, my story, I've been in a lot of different industries, but I've been in sales and marketing for 25 years, which is crazy to think, but it's true. And when COVID hit in March of 2020, the whole world shifted. Like 17% of Americans shopped online first. So these were the early adopters that were shopping online, Uber Eats, getting their groceries delivered before March of 2020. Well, when March of 2020 hit and the physical world started to shut down and all that stuff, well, we basically were conditioned and trained how to shop online. Now that 17% number has quadrupled. We're talking like 60, 70% of Americans shop first going to the internet. And I'm not telling you nothing you don't already know because you're doing that, right? You're getting your groceries delivered. You're getting your Uber Eats. Well, I was doing in the healthcare, in health and wellness space, physical stores, franchises opening up across the country. Well, when the lockdowns came, I had to figure out how to start selling online because that's where people were shopping. And there was only one person that I was going to go to, which was Russell Brunson. But before that, I can backtrack. We met through a mutual friend, Jeffrey Gitomer, who had a mastermind with Joe Soto. So Joe Soto was my first introductory to digital marketing, and he confirmed my beliefs that Russell Brunson was the way to go. And so from that mastermind that you and I were both in, I just went all in. And at the time, when we were in that mastermind, Russell Brunson's inner circle wasn't open because he was working on scaling his company. Funnels to $150, $200 million a year. So when he opened it back up, boy, I just jumped in. And our mutual friend, Robbie Summers, get well soon, Robbie.
Love Robbie. Robbie, if you're watching, I love you, brother.
Yes, get well soon. And tell us how you're doing. Please be in Mexico next week.
Yeah.
If you can make it. And so Robbie was wonderful. And you helped introduce and talk with Robbie and me and Alex and Alex Foote and Jamie Green. Joined the Inner Circle about 2 years ago, and it's just been incredible. It's just, for those that don't know what a mastermind is, which I think maybe most people know now, but it's a collection of like-minded and like-valued individuals that
Yep.
have a common goal. Whether it's business or whatever that common goal is, but you want to help each other. Kind of all, rising tides lift all ships. And so Russell Brunson is known as the sales funnel, the internet's most favorite entrepreneur. And I knew that if I was I have a mission to reach 1 billion people by 2025. If I was going to hit that mark, I had to become a digital marketing online sales specialist. And that was my mentor that I chose.
And so what, so I know you joined the Inner Circle, and we have some other authors that are in this book waiting backstage that we're going to bring on. But talk about the inspiration behind, why did you decide to write this book? And there are people watching right now. So those people that are watching or will watch the replay, what are they going to get out of this? What's the payoff for them to invest $250 or $4.20? Either way, what's the payoff?
Great question.
There's a huge gap between the Kindle. I'm just saying.
And here's the reason, right? So number one, look, this book, it was basically, paying homage to Russell and saying, look, man, it's meant so much to all of us to be in here. There's been incredible stories like Alex Hormozy, Lady Boss, all these, Myron Golden, Allison Prince. The list goes on and on. These like very, very successful individuals that formed companies from the original Inner Circle, selling their companies for $45 and $50 million. And so we knew that the power of this Inner Circle mastermind. So when it opened back up, we all jumped in, and it's $50,000 to get in. That's why the book costs so much, because at the end of the day, the maximum that I can charge for a book is $250 on Amazon. That's why it's $250. If I had it my way, it would be $25,000 is what I would charge, because we're doing an official book launch in Mexico next week in the physical world. And to get into that mastermind in Mexico, it's $25,000. And so we're going to be giving a book to everyone in that mastermind in Mexico for $25,000 to get there. And so that's what the book is worth. So you're going to be able to hear the insights, the stories of 24 of the smartest, most aggressive marketers in the world. Russell's right in there with us. He's got his own chapter in the introduction there to tell you what the Inner Circle has meant to him. And so that's the thing about the mastermind. You pitch and you catch. You have an idea and you try to collaborate, right? 1 + 1 = 11 in synergy. And so, yeah, that's what it's worth. And the reviews are out. And people are really, really loving these stories.
I mean, from what I've read so far, it's amazing. I haven't read everything yet, obviously, but I think we should bring on a couple of other people here. What do you think?
Let's do it, man. We got some guests backstage, and hold on tight, keep watching, because we might have that special appearance from the one and only Russell Brunson. He's down in Mexico getting the mastermind ready with his family on spring break, but he's going to do his best to try and join us. So we have to keep an eye on that green room.
I've got my eyes peeled on it. So let's bring on Eric first. Eric, welcome to Amazon Live.
How you doing, Ken? What's up, Justin?
Hey, brother, my brother from another mother. He's got the book there behind him, 2 of them. Look at that book positioning.
And I got a third right here. I spent a lot of money on these books, at $250 pop.
He could make a fortune on them. He didn't know. He got them at the
I know.
But so no, Eric, you have a chapter in the book, correct?
I do, yes.
What was the driving force or factor for you that made you go, I'm in? I definitely want to have a chapter in this book.
One of the things that Russell always talks about is he believes that business is a calling, that you're called to serve a people. And I believe that as well. I had a 15-year ad agency career and was very successful at it, sold the agency, trying to figure out what to do with my life. And, like so many others, I actually started to get to know Russell a little bit just from his online content. I didn't know much about him until before about 2018. And so I started diving into his content, and, being an ad agency owner, I loved marketing, but I saw him doing it differently than most people were doing it. So my story is that I got to know his content a little bit, and I started attending his live event that he has every year with ClickFunnels, which is called Funnel Hacking Live. And I think for a lot of people out there, that's sort of maybe one of their entry points to getting into this big family that we call funnel hackers. And it was that very first Funnel Hacking Live where I'm watching people crossing stages, getting $1 million, $10 million, and $25+ million awards. Awards meaning they've reached that level of success through one funnel inside of ClickFunnels. I thought, you know what? I'm going to be on that stage. And sure enough, 1 year later, I was on stage with this award. This is my first one. This
wow.
$1 million
Hold on.
award.
Let me give you full screen back. Show it again.
Oh, there
Show
you go.
again.
Right there.
There it is.
That one right
Nice.
there. And right now applying for the $10 million award, which we are like just 2 weeks or so away from achieving. So really excited about that. And once you can get either $1 million+ or $10 million through just one funnel through your business, you have the opportunity, if there are slots available, to join Russell Brunson's $50,000 mastermind. And it's funny because, just to make this quick, I had got the invitation because of winning the award. And I had never spent $50,000 on a mastermind before, ever. I'd never spent $50,000 on much less anything besides maybe a house and a car. And it was a big, it was a big thing for me. So of course, like the good husband I am, I call my wife and I say, honey, do you want the Tesla or can I join Russell Brunson's mastermind? And she, being the superhero that she is, she's definitely a superhero with as many kids as we have. She's like, go for it. And
buy the Tesla.
No. No.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say, she told me buy the Tesla. Yeah, right. That's awesome, man. Wow. So you joined.
I joined, and an incredible thing happened. Have you ever heard the term, Ken, that like the transformation is in the transaction?
Yep.
You know, there's an author that I love that actually speaking next week. He wrote a book called Be Your Future Self Now, and he talks about how he did a study in his university where he discovered that most people, when they like create transformation in their lives, when they really level up, when they finally like see the light and they're going towards something big and they ultimately break into a high level of success, it almost always starts with a financial transaction, meaning investing in themselves through a program like an event or a mastermind or a book or something like that. And it was crazy because in that very moment, when I invested in this mastermind, I'm sitting in my hotel on a Friday night, kind of taken away by how much money I just spent, given my credit card was charged. I'm totally committed. I had an idea to create a segment of the business that I hadn't created before. And
just
it was
like
not
that.
Just like that. It was crazy. It was all of a sudden this flood of inspiration came, and I spent 2, 3, 4 hours just typing, like trying to create. I created a funnel. I called my business partner. I called my employees, and I'm like, here's what we're doing. I didn't notice at the time. They thought I was crazy. And I said, we're gonna launch this program, and we're gonna generate in one day $250,000. I'm like, you're crazy. This is not gonna happen. And I was wrong. We did launch the program that I had come up with that night. 2 weeks later, we didn't generate $250,000. We generated $406,000 in one day. And I'd never, done that much business in just one day. And wow. I'm telling you, it was just a crazy experience. And since then, being around guys like Justin and some of these other authors that you're going to introduce, it's been an incredible ride inside this inner circle.
Talk about, I got to ask this. I know we're on Amazon, but I have to ask this. How terrified were you investing 50 grand? I mean, that had to be like I'm investing 50 grand in a mastermind.
Well, full transparency. When we were in the room, when we got the invitation, Russell had espresso lunch for all of us, and he's telling us what's going to happen in this inner circle. By the way, he had closed it for a couple of years prior to this. So this was like a new opportunity for those that hadn't done it before to get in. And I left the room. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. It's fine. I went back to my hotel room. That's when I called my wife as I'm walking to the hotel room and I'm sitting in there. She said, yes. I found out that when something costs too much, when you feel that it's right and it scares you to death, that's always when you do it.
Amen.
So I
love that.
And I'm like, uh-oh, I'm in trouble because I left the room and there were only a certain amount of spots available. I might be done. So here I am running through the hotel, running back. I go into the room. The room is empty. Nobody's there. And there's one person at the back of the table. And I'm like, did I miss it? What's going on? She's like, no, go back to the Funnel Hacking Live room and hopefully they'll have some spots. And I'm like, okay, great. So I ran back into the main stage area where the event is being held, the 5-day event, with 5,000 people every day. And I ran to the table in the back in that room. And I said, is this available still? And she's like, yes, we have a few spots available. Bam. I filled out the thing, gave my credit card, grabbed it. I got this incredible sweatshirt out of the deal. Yeah. So that was nice. And then I ran back to my hotel room and thought, what in the world did I just do? So yeah, it was scary.
I've lost my mind. I'm in a cult. Oh no, I'm in a cult.
Yes.
Right. Oh my gosh. I love it. So, Eric, thank you for your input. And before I'm going to bring John on here in a second, but before we do that, from your story in the book, the chapter that you wrote, what is the people watching that are watching live and will watch the replay? What are they going to get out of reading your story? What's the payoff for them to read your story?
When we were putting this together and I really thought hard, what can I say in one chapter that could change a life, that could inspire somebody, that could help them really get to the level that they want to be at in life or in their business? And I told a story about how most of us focus on strategy, tactics, and tools in the business world, right? We're entrepreneurs. We always want to know, like, what's working? What's that next gold nugget? We're looking for the secrets that Russell, of course, publishes, all the time in his books. But what are those secrets to success that if we do that, we can achieve great things? And the reality is most people don't, achieve and live the life of their dreams. So what was that one golden nugget that I put in there? And I realized that everyone's looking for is a webinar going to work, or is an e-com product going to work, or a live event, or how do I launch my product? What is it going to be? And the reality is I realized something that was consistent between those that were successful. And that is this, that no matter what you try, it will not work unless you work first. And I saw that almost every how worked depending on the person that was executing the how, that was executing that idea. And I realized that the more I connected with my authentic self, the more I committed completely 100% to the thing that I felt that I was called to in business, and I stayed consistent with that, all of a sudden, incredible things started happening. Doors started opening. And there's a saying that we've heard that if you build it, they will come. Obviously we've heard that all from Field of Dreams, and it's not true. Yeah. I mean, if you build it, they won't come.
They're not coming.
I've also heard, though, however, if you build it and you market it, well, okay, that's a step above. But yeah. I realize there's something even more powerful than that. And I talk about this in this chapter, and I'll end on this. And that is this: if you build you, they will come.
Oh, that's so awesome. I'm going to have you on my other show too.
Oh,
yes, Mike.
Let's go.
Hey, so thank you for that. Listen, everybody watching, get the $250 book. If you don't want to spend that much, there's a $4.20 option. It is going to be very difficult to get them to autograph the $4.20 one, however, because it's digital. So, but hey, get this book. I've only read Justin's story and Russell's intro, and it's phenomenal. So I want to go ahead and bring John on. You stay with us here, Eric. I'm going to bring John on.
Got it.
John, welcome.
Welcome. Nice to see you.
I'm not even going to try your last name. Tell everybody your last name. Go on.
It's like golf. Oh. It's just missing an O, just like Justin's shirt.
I know. I'm like, who's promoting Ayn Rand today? So
are we selling her book or not? No? Okay.
Right. So John, welcome to Amazon Live. I'm very grateful and happy that you're here with us. Let's talk about your perspective. I know you have to go soon, but let's talk about your take on this book and your story and how it's going to benefit the readers to go through your story in this book.
No, of course. I definitely appreciate it. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be with Justin and Eric and you, Ken. I mean, this is just absolutely amazing. Um, Going back to Eric's story, Eric, I think I beat you. Not only did I leave the room, I didn't come back till the next day.
Oh, no way.
I came back the next day because I was the guy the same. I left as well, looking at like the sheet of paper, and I'm like, I can't do this, but I need to do this. I can't do this. I called my wife. She says, you can do this. I'm like, I probably spent all night kind of going back and forth. And I came the next day and I'm like, hey, and I think the lunch was happening like at 12. And at like probably a half an hour beforehand, I'm like looking around. I found Robbie. Robbie, if you're there, we love you.
Robbie.
And I'm like,
AKA
Robbie,
the closer.
That's right.
Energizer Bunny.
Yeah.
The Energizer Bunny. Yeah.
No. And I found Robbie and he's like, yeah, all right, come on. You're fine. I didn't get a sweatshirt though. I'm bummed out. I didn't get my sweatshirt that day, but you know what? I got more than a sweatshirt. I got a family. I got friends that I can call for the rest of my life. And I got transformation I got more transformation than I would have ever thought in my life from spending that 50,000. And now I know all of you like say, like, you know, you have this thought process of 50,000, right? But the way I think everybody's got to look at it is if you don't spend that 50,000, who could have you have been if you would have said yes? Right? Because I mean, that's the real question, because the amount of growth that happens between the mastermind principle, between all of us inside the inner circle, guys, I'm telling you, it's more than just it's not a membership. I mean, it's a family. It's a collective of amazing minds that blend together to create like communities, to create goodness, to create good in the world. And I think that's what Russell created, right? I think that's what attracted all of us. You know, I've seen a lot of different types of marketing, and the core message behind what Russell does is goodness, right? It's light. It's doing good in the world and helping others. And really that's what everybody does. And that's what everybody does inside the inner circle. And I'm sure you guys feel the same way. And we're all willing to help each other grow and help more people. And that's really the core message.
That's amazing. Is that the core message in your story in the book?
No, there's plenty of stories, but I'll tell you a fun story. So as I'm working on building this artificial intelligence thing that we've been working on, Justin kind of reaches out to me and he's like, hey, we got this book. It didn't look like this. And he's like, we're launching this book and I want you to write it. You know, we need you to write a chapter. And I was so swamped on time. I'm like, how am I going to do this? And at the exact same time, we were actually building out an artificial intelligence platform that exactly does writing books and does everything else. And so it was a stressful point, but we actually went there. And believe it or not, my chapter was written by AI.
I love that.
And so going back and forth with Justin, and I'm sure he can tell you the backstory. I think the back of the book is also written by AI. And yeah, I think it's a cool story. My mission is to help entrepreneurs create legacy and give time back to our lives, right? And I'm doing that with my mission, which I found, thankfully, going through the inner circle. Everything leads back to that one decision of joining the inner circle, right? Yeah. The transformation, the relationships. The reason why all of us are here today is because we all made that decision, because we took that step forward that day, right? And you know, we can't be more grateful than to Russell creating this, right? He envisioned this mastermind principle with everything that he's learned, and he's helping grow the world with us, with everybody, right? With everything he does. And so I couldn't be more grateful to everybody in the inner circle. I couldn't be more grateful to Russell. And I'm extremely grateful for you, Ken, as well. I mean, just having us on here, it gives us the ability to reach more people. It gives us the ability to share our message, and the core message is to help more people.
Now, is this is the inner circle, and then there's something like the category something, or is there another? Yeah,
That's where things-
I have a buddy that's in that, Chaz Wilson. I don't know if you know him or
Oh,
not.
Jazz is great.
Oh, we know.
Chaz,
Yeah, he's
Chaz is
amazing.
amazing. Love that guy.
Yes.
So you guys, like, okay, for people who are not in the, and there are people watching that probably have never even heard of Russell Brunson or ClickFunnels.
what?
I know. Well, there are rocks that people live under.
Yes.
But like for somebody watching that, you know, I'm not even going to pay attention to the $250 book price. Let's say they go, oh, I'll spring for $420 for the Kindle. I mean, I like to always think, you know, because people are walking around thinking, what's in it for me all the time, right? What's in this for me? What's in it for me? What is, in anybody's opinion, all three of you can chime in at once. Is that Brian on here? I think, is he the wrestler guy? And then he said, kidding. For all of you watching, what do you think somebody can take this book, read it, and immediately be able to apply to their life, their business, to see instant results? Eric, I know that and trust me, I'm very familiar with what you were talking about. When you make a huge investment, it's like taking a huge step of faith into something, right? There is always payoff, but man, it's terrifying to do. It really is sometimes. Talk about the ultimate payoff if somebody gets this book and they read it right now.
I'll take the first swing at it. Because I was the one that kind of orchestrated the book, and in fact, they just put out in a Facebook group. We have an Inner Circle Facebook group, and I said, hey, I was inspired, and I believe, as our good friend Glenn Morshower says, listen to the whispers. And so I listened to the whisper, and the whisper said, do this book, like, because Russell wrote a book called 30 Days. And so it's basically, you lose everything. How do you build it all back in 30 days? And so that was kind of the model of the inspiration. And so I threw it out the Facebook group in Inner Circle and said, hey, would anybody be interested in writing a chapter on joining the Inner Circle? Because I mean, it had just reopened and we were jazzed and so happy, and like this energy and this buzz. And it literally could have been 4 people said, hey, I'm interested. And then we would have done it. But we had like 30 people raise their hand and say, I want in, I want in, I want in. And trust me, the 7 that didn't make it are begging me to do a second edition. But so the thing that when I read the stories, you know, and we had editors and all that kind of good stuff. When I read the stories, and I knew some of my fellow brothers and sisters that are in there, but some of the stories are so powerful. Like, we all have, like, you know, obstacles, and we all have these tough things that happen in our lives, and they can either define us or we can rise above them, right? And you know, we can make our, you know, our mess our message, as Tony says. And when you hear some of these stories, like for me, that's what I mean, because sometimes I think we all kind of like maybe throw a little pity party for ourselves, or like, oh, this was hard, or things like that. But there are stories of struggle and perseverance and overcoming, like homelessness, like on the streets at like 12 years old. I mean, just powerful stories that just, for me, when you read the book and you read the stories, you see what these people overcame and where they are now in their lives. And for me, that was the thing that resonated most, was because I think a lot of us think that, you know, maybe that there's some silver spoon, or someone had, you know, rich parents, or they caught their break, or I'm just unlucky, or whatever it is that we have rattling around in that monkey brain of ours. Or as they say, you know, in the movie Luca, Silencio, Bruno. But when you read the stories and you're like, man, and if you read, just look at some of the titles, you can look at the sample preview when you look at it on Amazon. You'll see like what, you know, from pig farmer to $7 million, just crazy, like where some of these stories. But so for me, I would say just inspiration.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys want to take a swing at it?
Yeah, definitely. You know, so many of us struggle to accomplish and be where we want to be in life. And this is an opportunity to learn from people, not that are, as Justin kind of mentioned, that are overnight successes. You know, there's no such thing as an overnight success. You're essentially rewarded in public for what you do in private. And what you're going to learn in this book are the things that very successful entrepreneurs have learned through the struggle that happens behind closed doors. So it's a way for you to essentially accelerate your achievement much quicker than you ever thought possible by learning from 24 people that have been where you are and maybe are where you want to be. And it's a way for you to say, okay, these guys went from 0 to 10, 50, $100 million in a short amount of time. What in the world did they do? What is it about them that got them there? That's what you'll learn. You'll be able to learn at the feet of these giants that are incredible people that are changing the world essentially.
We got people in the comments. I don't know if you guys are watching the comments, but yep, I'm getting this book. I love this. That's my buddy Nick Ogilvy is watching. Nick is here in the Dallas area. So and Eric, you just said a little bit ago that move your head to the side, let everybody see your award again. So you said that's the $1 million mark, but now you're that close to the $10 million mark.
Yep, just a couple of weeks away, and we're going to be filing that for the $10 million award. So
dude, that is so incredible. And did you start with nothing?
In this business, yes. Remember, I had mentioned earlier that I ran an ad agency for about 15 years before I sold that, and built that one up to close to $10 million a year. So this was a very different path, though. In the ad agency world, that was the world that I knew. That was the world that was what I was good at. So going from that to now teaching and coaching and training and doing masterminds and speaking at events. It's a very different world, and in my opinion, a much harder way to make money. So this was tough for me. It took me a good 2 or 3 years to try to figure this out, to try to really understand this world and try to connect with it, build an audience, create influence, and launch the programs. And it's been an incredible journey, because in this journey, at least in my experience, it's changing lives. It's teaching people how to fish, versus in the ad agency world, it's feeding them fish. I
love that. John, you want to take a stab at it?
No, 100%. So it actually brings me back to a story. When we were in the inner circle and we were sitting on a bus, right? And somebody walked, and I don't know where we were going. There was a couple buses, right? And somebody walked around and asked every single person on the bus what their income was for that year, right? The collective of that bus was $247 million. Imagine sitting on that bus, and mind you guys, there was multiple buses, right? Imagine sitting on that bus and having a conversation with 24 of us of $247 million that was done that year, right? Which is now probably closer to 400 million or much more, right? So, I mean, that's what you get by getting the book. You actually get to you get to hop on this bus. You get to sit next to each one of us and say, hey, what's your life story? What got you there? And, there's a saying of you're kind of like the most, you become the people that you're around, right? Like the 5 most people you're around. And so if you want to skip the line, you look for what other people did and you model what they did to become more successful. And I've done that plenty of times in different businesses. And guys, the secret to everything, for one, it's this book, but it's modeling, right? You got to learn, you got to model success, right? You got to model what works in the industry, or even something similar. Right? It doesn't even have to be in your industry. You just got to model what successful people do. And then going back to what Eric says, you got to do the work. Right. And so
powerful.
Yeah. I think we were on the way to SeaWorld on that bus, by the way.
Were you on the same bus?
Yeah, I was on the same bus. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Did you have anybody go 30,000?
In order to be on that bus, you got to do at least $1 million, right?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I
forgot.
But if you think about it, that bus wasn't like a huge bus either. So even if each person only did $1 million, I mean, 247 million is great. And you know what? I would love to, if we could do it, I would love to see what this year is going to be. But that's what it's really about, right? It's about modeling. It's about And what Russell does differently than anybody else, guys, is he creates a community, a close-knit community. And I don't know how he does it. It's some special sauce he does, but he created a family, right? I can call Eric anytime. And actually, you know what? Eric messaged me, yesterday? He's like, hey, how can I help you with this new project? And I'm like, you know what? I'd be honored. Same thing with Justin,
Wow.
right? How can I help you with this new project? And so what it creates is not just growth, not just transformation. It creates a family that looks after you and that helps you along the way. It's like somebody coming down the hill and then giving you their hand and saying, hey, you know what? I know what you need. Let me help you. And they take you along, right? And
So
that's
awesome.
that's more powerful than any amount of money that you can give. And I can promise you, just like spending the $50,000,
Yeah.
that $250. What's going to happen if you don't spend $250?
Amen. I agree with you. All right, fine. I'll buy the book.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah. We
That was
sold Ken.
You
Yeah.
did it.
I'm sending you a signed copy. You can just make a donation.
I know. So I just made a donation,
I
remember?
know.
So I do want to bring Dr. Justin on. He's been sitting in the green room so patient, actually laughing at some of our jokes because I can see him. Not all of them though. But I do want to bring him on. So it's going to look a little wonky to everybody watching for a minute, but that's all right. We're going to have 5 of us on screen here for a second. Justin, welcome to Amazon Live.
Woo! Hey guys. Thank Ken. Thanks for having us on. Appreciate it.
Hey, I'm grateful to have all of you on here. I'm really excited to hear, number one, what kind of doctor you are, and number two, your take on the book and your story in the book and what it all means to you.
Yeah. So Ken, my background is I'm a chiropractor. And so the biggest reason this is so important is because a lot of my profession, we're not taught anything about business at all. And so what happened was the thing that really intrigued me specifically about like Funnel Hacking Live is where I woke up for the first time was it was an environment where a lot of people, I don't really know where many other environments where you see that much authenticity, that much excitement, that much energy. And growing up as an entrepreneur who, again, I got a lot of energy. I'm pretty wired, but like when you found your people, and I would agree that that's probably one of Russell's biggest skills is he finds like-minded individuals. I don't know if they're misfits weird or they think they're wired different, but they're just really high energy. They're driven. They have hearts to serve. And so it is addicting when you get around those people. Like you really feel like you're home. And like the guys were saying too, it's like they're really your true friends.
Right.
And so it's really cool when you're instantly accepted in that environment. And then what happened was as you grow and you see those things that are concepts higher and higher and higher. And we all know that, again, like, again, the whole who you surround yourself with, once you cap out yourself in a certain category, you want to grow bigger and better. And one of the reasons I even got into this is because I hated everything online, believe it or not. Everything serious. I just hated it. And so I got to that point in life where I had a few things happen where I didn't really fear much anymore. And so I found the next thing what I hated, it was something I didn't like. And so I said, well, if I don't like it, I also realize someone can use something for bad, but someone can also use it for good. And so I just made a decision. I said, well, if it's that much and I don't like it, I have to learn more. And so I learned more. And I went through the coaching, the training. But then in 2020, when the world shut down, I actually did the opposite of most other people. When they all went in on the online version, I noticed that my focus was being distracted a million places and my brick and mortar was suffering. And even to the point where, I mean, it was started just crashing down. And so I decided to actually pull back from everything on the online. And I knew I had a responsibility to help people in the health world. And so I went all in, head down. And what happened was, I know Russell mentioned this too from a funnel, but it's a principle. He said, so many people, especially entrepreneurs, we focus on so many different things. But if you stay focused on one thing until you hit $1 million in his case, he said funnel. But in mine, I was like, I got to be a good steward with the people that are having some health challenges.
Yeah.
And so I went all in, head down. And and that's part of my book or the little chapter was, how I grew our brick and mortar 800% when the world was shutting down. Wow. And because it was more of a principle of focus. It was a principle of, I have this specific calling, this thing I'm supposed to do. And so these things, I had to say, wait. But all of a sudden we got to that point where we crossed that, the good old 7-figure mark. And it's very uncommon. And again, you hear the word doctor, for chiropractors, a lot of them are broke mindsets, broke things. And just, it was pretty cool to go back into that zone of excellence and focus. And so it was kind of funny when I went back to Funnel Hacking Live and Robbie tapped me on the shoulders. Love Robbie.
Robbie.
And he got that little invite and he said, hey, there's this thing. You want to come check it out? And I already knew what it was. It was an invite to the inner circle. But the crazy part was I sit down and do a lot of quiet time. And this is my little chapter in the book, that quiet little voice. And, Justin, you mentioned that little whisper. I had this thing. I was like, dude, I am so focused right now. I do not want to be distracted. I almost didn't go to Funnel Hacking Live, but I was like, fine, I'll go. Cause it's about 2 a.m. the night before. I was like, I just felt like, you're going. I was like, okay. So I signed up for one of the last tickets. I went and I was watching everyone get their awards. And then Robbie tapped me on the shoulder and says, do you want to come? And I knew what it was for. And I knew the price tag too, because I even wrote it down at 3 a.m. a couple of weeks before. I said, the only thing I'll sign up for, because I don't want to be distracted, is the inner circle, and it'll probably be about $50K.
Wow.
And I'm not kidding. You guys were scared. I already knew that I had this. By the way, what I'm about to say is not tax advice and it's not business advice, so don't take it as such. But I knew when you get a certain income, you're going to pay Uncle Sam or Uncle Russell. That was my philosophy. Don't have to take it. But my Amex was hot. I was about to cut my chicken breast with it. So, I was ready to roll because I knew the investment, what it was. When he pitched us, it was $50K. I said, I'm all in, because I knew I had to hit a certain amount of things. I didn't want to be hypothetical, but I also realized the amount of wisdom in that room to the level we want to go. I knew that because it was my weakest area, I needed to be around strong people. So these 3 guys right here and the many, many other individuals, I'd be an idiot to not tap into their wisdom. And yeah, I might be able to help a few people with health challenges, but when I listen to people talk about online marketing, and John, when he goes off on AI, and Justin, what he's talking about, and Eric, we've had good conversations, and each and every person, it's like, you'd be an idiot to not accept that. And like I said, these people too, what I really love about that environment is they are not ego driven. And
Right.
there are a lot of groups that are ego driven.
Yep.
And it's disgusting. They're not ego driven. I also love the fact that they're not afraid to share their failures. There's no judgment. People feel safe and secure. They're giving concepts. They're saying this is approximately what it is. They help keep you focused. They give that environment that keeps you pushing to things you're called to do. And we all have unique callings. And so I'm just very aware that it's a good group of people. It's led by a great leader. By the way, he's human. I'm human. We're all human. I don't know if John hangs out. We'll all probably be. What it means is we all have failures, and it's okay. Sometimes we hold our mentors to a level of perfection, and it just doesn't exist. But I think it's just a fun place where we can all be vulnerable. We can all be real and raw, and we can have those conversations at the level, because we've had all these failures in the past, because we've the right staffing questions. We're having problems with, staffing or growing or scaling. And I think it's just a beautiful environment that I'm very honored to be part of, just to sit back and honestly in wisdom, or just in awe to hear what these guys have for wisdom. And so a piece of my book isn't so much chiropractic based as much as it's the principle of when you have that small little voice inside of you that you're supposed to be obedient to it. And though it might make you go a certain ways, you will learn lessons. And so I'm just glad I was obedient to that. I'm glad I've done that, and I've built some beautiful relationships, and it's fun, and I'm excited to grow more and learn more from these guys and these gals. And
that's amazing.
It's fun. It's really fulfilling, Ken.
So I have to ask you, and we just had somebody else pop into the green room. I see back there. Is it Danny Therian?
Oh man.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we're not being bombed by.
Yeah, he's in the right place.
Danny, hang tight. We'll bring you on here in just a second. But Justin, I want to ask you again. I've interviewed some of the top authors in the world on here. And I want to know from your perspective, for the people that are watching and that are going to buy this book or have bought this book, what is the end result for the reader from the whole book and your story specifically?
Well, I think the end result is you're going to be, like I said before, inspired, but there are going to be tangible evidence of what we did to overcome. So not only will you get that inspiration or that motivation, but there are going to be actual marketing plans that worked. These aren't like theories, and we're not selling you anything. Hey, the only thing we were selling you was the book and you already bought it. We're just sharing our story of what worked with us, because again, just like John was saying, you need to find a mentor. No one has ever gotten anywhere great by themselves. I hate to break it to you. If you guys have watched the movies like with Steve Jobs, or if you've watched some of these documentaries with some of these great people, they chose mentors. They had mentors. They had teams. And we have a $50,000, it's like a membership of Entrepreneurs and Mastermind, that we care about each other. We have the same beliefs and values that Russell set for us. And we're giving you access to this book, with giving you the access to these secrets, right? And yeah, honestly, if I could charge $25,000 for this book, I would have, because that's what it's worth. And as we all know, when you pay attention. But at the end of the day, there are going to be things in this book. I promise you, money back guarantee. I promise you, if you read this book, you will not only be inspired, but you will have nuggets that you will be able to apply immediately to your business. And hey, you'll know us and maybe reach out to us on social media, and we can answer a question or two or follow up on something that spoke to you.
So Justin, thank you, but I want to hear Justin's take on it. The other Justin, Dr. Justin.
You got to say Dr.
Justin. I didn't even think about it, but I didn't want to interrupt you because you were on a roll. But
He was.
It was beautiful. I mean, a great
so
name.
passionate. Somebody pat him on the head. That was so passionate.
High fives.
I like it.
Yeah. But Dr. Justin, I want to know from your perspective what the end reader is going to get from your story specifically.
Well, I'd say just from everyone's, you're going to get a buffet of solutions, quite honestly. I mean, none of us are the same. I would say for mine, again, I'm not going to tell you how to grow your chiropractic business in my chapter per se, but I'll say in mine specifically is I break it down pretty real. Like there's a time like when my son almost died, and it was like, I just felt like this. I felt like God was tapping me on the shoulder saying, hey, if I take him, are we all in? Like, are we good? And it was a really big like shift in my perception of fear per se. Like when you have a comparison of that level of a fear, taking like, it was when my son was born, it was my wife and my son, everything shifted in priorities of what is a perceived fear.
Right.
So like, because I did the audio recording of it to kind of test myself out a little bit. Man, I started bawling when I was just writing the whole thing out, but it does. It shifts perception of priorities. It shifts perception of that.
Yeah. I love that, man. I love that. I think anybody listening to you guys, I've known Justin for several years now, and he's like a brother to me. But listening to Justin Benton, sorry. But listening to all of you, like I can feel your heart, and all of you seem to be very heart-centered, which is my kind of people. And if you're watching this on Amazon and you haven't bought the book yet, shame on you. Get the book. Like, come on, John, do your walk across the screen trick. So, yeah, there we go. So, let me go ahead and bring Danny on and see just how many people we can fit on this Amazon Live.
Nice.
Hang on, let's do this. There he is, Danny.
Hey. There he is.
Look at those beautiful people. I cannot meet you.
Nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you. And what they said in the comments, you get that, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Huh?
It's all good stuff, I promise.
Yeah. No, what they said in the comments in the private chat. But anyway, so Danny, I'm assuming since you're here that you have a chapter in this book as well.
Yes.
Talk about it. Talk about your chapter and what it means to you and what it's going to mean to the reader, the people that read your chapter. What are they going to get from it? And what have you accomplished in your life and business as a result of being part of this inner circle?
Okay. First of all, what they will get, and thank you for asking, and what they will get is inspiration. I think is
that like a deep South Texas accent you have?
No, it's a French Canadian accent.
I'm just playing. He's like, I'm leaving. I don't like Ken Walls now.
But yeah, so basically it's inspiration, because what I want people to get out of my chapter is that everything is possible for everybody, right? We always say that everything is possible, but very rarely I heard for everybody. I grew up with no skills. I grew up, I didn't went to school. I did not even spoke English when I bought .com secret first. I had to have Google Translate open, and like every pages took me like 30, 45, 60 minutes to read. So resilience, they will get a lot of like, I failed big time and I failed often, right? So yeah, it's inspiration. If you never quit, you never lose. The only way you can lose is if you quit. So this is exactly what I feel they will get in my chapter. And a lot of people read it and came back to me, was like, man, I just read your chapter and I'm on fire right now. I was inspired. Yeah. So
that's awesome. Yeah. So you just joined us, but everybody else has kind of chimed in and shared their opinion about what this book overall means for the person that buys it off of Amazon or wherever, but what it's going to mean to the reader, what it's going to do for the reader. Justin Benton actually shared twice what he thinks.
And I'll share again.
Hey, I want to hear it again because I love your passion, bro. But what's the reader going to get, Danny? When they read this book, what are they going to get? How are they going to apply the stuff from this book to their life to where maybe they can go, hey, I want to be in a $50,000 mastermind with Russell Brunson?
Yeah, a great question. And I think I have a great answer. They will get out of their procrastination mode. One thing they will realize by reading this book is that of all the names, like how many names are there? Like all these names, there's nobody who had it figured out starting. Nobody was like, oh, I got this, right? I'm the best, right? And most people, I feel, who don't have the success they want to have or are not at the place they want to be in life is because they think that they need to figure it out before achieving it, right? And what I feel you'll get into this book is the fact that you'll understand a lot of things, how success really works in real life for real people that are just like you, who have a family to take care of, who don't have all the resources in the world, who's starting from scratch, and overcome adversity, right? A lot of people think that that if they fail once, it's over. No, if you look at this book, like, we failed, man. We failed big time. And once you see, okay, they all failed and they all succeeded at the same time. Maybe I'm not a failure because I failed. Okay, they haven't figured it out and they did it anyway. Okay, maybe I don't need to figure it out. So what I think this book will do for people is give them the opportunity, give them back the power that, hey, man, it's okay. Just do it. Just act with courage. Just trust yourself. Just go for it, and it's gonna happen. And if it don't happen today, just continue, and it's gonna happen. And if it don't happen next week, you know what? Continue, it's going to happen, right? Yeah. Because every failure brings you closer to victory, and that's why I call my chapter, I already lost, so that's why I win, right? Because I accept the fact that in order to win big time, you'll have to lose big time. And honestly, if you don't lose before winning, you're freaking lucky, man. Right?
I'm not sure there's anybody like that on the planet.
I don't think that exists.
No, I don't think so. So I just was literally having this conversation with somebody today. Like, dude, so many people, and you guys can chime in, and this is probably, I'm sure, in the book somewhere, but so many people fail, and then you know, the old saying, don't give up. That doesn't mean like they're going and jumping off of a cliff. It means that they fail and then they stay stuck in that failure. So they go get a job, or they go, and they stop pursuing that dream, that God-given dream that they have on their heart. Do you guys talk about that at all in the book? Any of you?
We do. Yeah, we do. I mean, for me, what's interesting is, I've gone through so many failures and to find the successes. And I think that's what so many people miss, right? They think that it's like, success is like an upward trajectory, right? And I can promise you it's not. And it And it might be one failure, it might be 4, it might be 5. But I can promise you that on the other side of that failure is the success that you've been called for. That success that you've been looking for is like right there. And Eric, I don't know if you want to chime in, but Eric had a post on his Facebook the other day, and it hit me right here because I felt it. And Eric, if you want to chime in, because I think you got this. And
I mean, Eric. Let's be honest, though. Eric has that beautiful smile, good-looking dude. He was born super successful. We all know that. He's never failed a day in his life. Failed. Come on.
Yeah. He was actually he was born with that smile. Like you look at his baby picture.
Right. So that might be true, but I walked out of a good paying job and started with 0. I don't even think I had $1,000 in the bank when I started my first business, 18 years ago now. Like, yeah. But the quote that John's talking about is that the intensity and the magnitude of the opposition that you face when you're trying to level up, when you're trying to do something great, is equal to the intensity and magnitude of your calling. And I love that. And in fact, I saw a post from one of our Inner Circle members. His name is Bart Miller. He said that winners lose more than losers lose. I love that because really the only difference between the two, between the winner and the loser, is the winner just doesn't quit. And, we all talk about Napoleon Hill and we revere him as one of the greatest authors of all time. And Napoleon Hill talks about this in depth. And he talks about how there's no such thing as permanent failure. I mean, all failures are just temporary defeat, but each temporary defeat that you experience on your journey to your dream outcome leaves with it the seed of an equivalent success.
Yep.
And I love that because all of us have experienced that. We didn't take failure as the end. We took failure as the next stepping stone. And we took the seed that it came with it and just somehow figured out how to do it. But we probably wouldn't be honest if we didn't say that we didn't want to quit, that there weren't times where we were devastated and horrified and financially ruined at times and lost tons of money to be able to get to the journey where we wanted to be. The difference is we just, for some reason, we were just willing to say, hey, the calling that I have is more important. And this resistance I'm feeling is saying that I am absolutely on the right track. Yeah. And now with this group, this family that John talks about, I can call, if I have a problem or a challenge, I can call on any one of these guys, plus the dozens of others that are in Inner Circle, and all of them have specialized skills and say, hey, I need help with this. And bam, they would jump in. Danny's really good at that. Danny's our webinar whisperer. And if I called him up tomorrow and said, hey, can you help me put this together? I don't know how to do it. He'd probably spend several hours with me and not run my credit card and just there to serve. It's so powerful.
Yep.
That is awesome. So Dr. Justin, ironically, the other Justin probably is referred to quite often as a doctor as well, but Dr. Justin by title, are you still in the chiropractic world?
Yes. By the way, doctor just means teacher, so it's nothing fancy. Justin is also he's a doctor resource. That's it. So this is the fun part, because through this, I also realized my 4 walls were my limitation. I felt like the 4 walls were my biggest barrier point.
Yeah.
And so this freedom to do these things has, I've been able to ask these mentors, like I'm surrounded by literally mentors of how do I do an exit strategy to make sure I'm a good steward of my business, to make sure my patients are still taken care of, but not by me. There's people that have shifted from certain roles to I've actually done it to I can now teach, versus some people they've went like this and then they go.
Yep.
And so like I rarely see patients anymore. I'm more kind of shifting things off. But I still see patients, and yet at the same time, I still have conversations with people. And the fun part is when you get to that level too, like I'll have a lot of people even in the Inner Circle that are asking me health questions, and I can go, hey, do you, I know a lot of docs across the nation. I go, have you went there? Have you went there? Have you went there? And that's a really fun and fulfilling thing, even for me, that you don't have to be everybody's everything. So I love it. I mean, and honestly, that's where I'm shifting with going to actually help other doctors and other just people with I don't know. It's a very fulfilling environment, but it's an easy stepping stone for me because I've chatted with a good chunk of these guys or other people too. And I'm not sure if anybody was watching this when Eric was talking about failure, how, again, who's on my bottom screen, it was Danny myself and John, we're all going like, yes, we failed.
Yeah.
We're all like, yep.
I watched,
right,
I
yeah,
watched
we're like,
all of
And it sucks. It is not
and it's
fun.
like, you're like, whoop, oh, I've been there. So and I think that's that biggest lie that everyone has seen, because you see people at a certain level and you think, oh, it was easy for them, or they've never failed like me. And I'm just going to tell you, that failure that you have had, all it is a learning lesson. Like, it's just a never again moment. And sometimes you need that freaking rock bottom to push you to that next one. And I think we've all had it to probably propel us to them. But the cool part is you don't have to do it alone. And so literally, like, it's like holding your hand up, and these guys are all pulling each other up. And I think that's the power of this mastermind too.
Yeah.
And the contents of this book is literally just the gold nuggets from the pain points they've had, and then the wisdom steps. It's just, I don't know, man. I'm just, this is fun. This is
So
a good group
you
of
got
people.
you guys want to hear a funny Russell Brunson story?
Of course.
I wish Russell was on here. Maybe I'll repeat it, but the very first time I saw Russell, I had a private suite I was in at the Miami Stadium for Grant's 10X Growth Conference. And Russell came out on stage, and after Grant introduced him and all of that, and I'm in this suite, and I've been in website development for 28 years. So I've done it for a little while. And I have some of my biggest clients in this suite with me. And Russell comes out and he's like, I forget what he said, but then he said, websites are dead. And I'm like, I'm looking around at my clients that we happen to be working on websites for. And I'm thinking, he didn't just, I said, don't listen to him. He's just a kid. He doesn't know what the heck he's talking about. So now I told Robbie was on my other show, and I told Robbie the story, and I said, dude, now I'm in the mindset where, websites aren't dead. There's still a purpose, but most businesses don't have any kind of call to action in the fold of their landing page or website. They have nothing to motivate somebody to take action. And hopefully this book has some stories about that, like how to get into creating the right kind of funnel, how funnels work, et cetera, et cetera.
It's funnel world, baby.
I know.
Think of the sales funnel.
I know.
You can't get one of those shiny awards without one. That's for sure.
And the truth is that the what to do is very easy, right? Having the courage to try it with your own money, with your own ads, knowing that, okay, you put 1,000, it did not work. Now you put another 1,000 with a test, right? Yeah. This is what really differentiates those who wins that those who lose. Because let's be honest, guys, we've all tried ClickFunnels, okay? Putting a call to action is literally drag and drop a button, then you change the title. It's freaking easy, right? And if you're in the Russell's world, for like $7, you can have his perfect webinar script, his whole entire training. For free, you can have funnel builder secrets that he used to sell for $1,000 back in the days. Yeah, I'm a whole dude now. But yeah, so you can literally have any information in the world you want. So why in the world does not everybody in his community is having success? Because they hold themselves back, right? And we were talking about like failure. We fail. Yeah. The problem is those who fail sometimes make their identity a failure. They're like, oh, I failed, so I'm a failure. No. Yeah, you saw what Dr. Justin said. Oh, I failed. So it's a never again moment and a stepping stone to go forward, right? So I don't think the gold nugget in this book will come from, hey, this is how you build a funnel. Russell's have enough free training on the internet, on YouTube, on ClickFunnels, on Funnel Flicks for $7. Like, it's very, very easy to learn how to do funnel. Learn how to trust yourself in order to use a funnel to build an actual real business and overcome adversity and overcome challenges and test with your money. This is the gold you will find in this book. And honestly, from my humble opinion, this is the goal that that people need. Right, this is the goal that people need. They don't. I
really like having all of you on here because, I know there's no way you can be an entrepreneur and not have massive setbacks and failures. And I think that everybody watching or will watch the replay, they need to know that it's okay, that's just part of the process. Like, you're going to fall backwards. You're going to fail. Like, people need to understand that that's real and that it's okay. And I love what you just said, Danny.
Yeah. And by the way, I have a friend of mine, okay, a very, very good friend of mine. He's not in the inner circle because he's in another community. He fell 7 times in 2 years asking for his job back at the same job, right? He went 7 times going to see his last boss. And I'm like, hey, man, can I work another month? I failed. And the boss was like, man, are you kidding me? Right? Are you kidding me? It's like the 6th time you come and see me, the 5th time, the 4th time, right? And he just kept on going because in his head, it was like, until I make it. Right? There was no other question until I succeed. Not how many times will it take? Not have I done the right thing or no, just I'll do it. Right? And nowadays he's making good money, having great success, living a great life, having great values, became a great person. He went asking for the same job 7 freaking times, right? This is a winner mindset. This guy is an inspiration to me, right?
Yeah.
An inspiration. The same job, not another one trying to hide himself. The same. He was like, I failed. I'll succeed next month. Do you give me 4 weeks?
Wow.
Right? This is entrepreneurship, right? This is entrepreneurship to its core. And this is how you succeed in life. And also, this is how you be happy, right? This is how you become happy. Because if you're like, that's just part of the game, then you enjoy the game. If you're like, this game is destroying me and it's hard and it's tough and poor me, then you will hate the game. But it's the same game for everybody. So the only thing you can choose is with which attitude do you approach this situation. And great entrepreneurs choose the right attitude, right? Because like we all said, we fell and then fell some more.
Like you said, the what and the how is the easy part. It's all available. In fact, mindset is more important than skill set. To have the mindset to go 7 times to do that, that's not easy. To have the mindset to spend money you don't have because you have a bigger dream is not easy. To leave the 9-to-5 job to do something that you believe is great is not easy. Mindset is really the bigger part of the equation. I mean, take fitness, for example. Do we really need more information on how to lose weight and get into shape, right? The how is always available, but the mindset of actually doing it and doing the work and getting it done and moving past the failure every single time, and then believing that you can become something, even though nothing in your present situation is telling you that that's actually true. Now that's hard. That's so much harder than just following a script of, hey, in 30 days, I lost everything and I could build this funnel up and use Russell's program to do the 30-day program and follow step 1, day 1, step 2, day 2, etc. That all it requires is a mindset behind you in order to get to you to where you want to go. That's what it's all about, really. And then when the mindset is there and it's right, then the magic happens with the how and the what.
Yeah.
Amen. I love that, man. And I have a suspicion that each and every one of you, if you lost everything tonight, as a matter of fact, why don't we just try it? All of you send me all of your money and start over tomorrow and see how long it takes you to build back up. Yeah. I'll keep it safe for you.
All right, here we go. Yep. Did you accept Venmo?
Beep. You accept Venmo. But no, the point is, and Justin knows I have a really, really good friend who's a billionaire that lives in Hollywood Hills, Ramey, and he's been homeless several times as an adult. He was a billionaire with a B at 33, and then lost everything, and now he's got it back tenfold, right? So it's a matter of and he was homeless after being a billionaire. Right. So, but like, it's a matter of what you have going on up here. And I'm curious, in the book, again, I want people to get this book. They need to get the book. I keep forgetting I'm not forgetting because it's right here, but we are on Amazon Live. Everybody needs to. There's a carousel right beneath this video. Click on. You can get it for $250 for the $250 for the hardback version. It's hard for me to even say. But then you can also get the Kindle version for $4.20. And I got to tell you, we have the rock star, Mr. Russell Brunson, joining us right now. Russell, welcome to Amazon Live.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
It's good to see you. Good to have you on here.
Glad to be here. We're in Mexico right now, preparing for the Inner Circle party happening in a couple of days, and glad I was able to break away for a few minutes and jump on and say hey to everybody.
Yeah, I've been interviewing each and every one of these guys about the book and what they've gotten from being in the Inner Circle and what it means to them. And man, first off, everybody on here is singing your praises, including me. If you look on the shelf behind me, there's all of your books. So I'm a huge fan. But I've asked everybody, what, and we're on Amazon Live, so we have to focus on Amazon. But what is, if somebody gets this book, in your opinion, Russell, if they get this book and they read it, what's the payoff for them? What are they going to be able to take right now and implement into their business or their lives right now that'll help them?
Yeah, there's obviously a lot of things. Every chapter's got different insights from every person's individual kind of experience and things like that. But I think I always joke about this, but it's actually more true than I think I'll ever admit. I always tell people, like, my main job at ClickFunnels is to be like the head cheerleader, to get everybody else to believe that all the stuff we're sharing is actually true. Because as anyone who's gone through the process now and done it, like, it's really not that hard. Hardest thing is believing that you can actually do it, right? It's like, oh, I believe that Russell can do it. I believe that so-and-so can do it, but like, can I actually believe it? And I think what's so cool about this book is you have a chance to see so many people from so many different industries and businesses who have like stepped up and said, I'm going to do this thing. And then they did it and they executed on it. And you see the end result of all their businesses, what they're all doing right now. And again, I think the biggest goal is like, we can get you guys all to believe that this is possible for you. Then the techniques aren't hard. The tactics aren't hard. Just like the belief, like it's usually between our ears, like that part in our brain that's like fighting us, like, oh, you're not ready. You're not worthy. You're not whatever, like if you can get past that, like that's the hardest part in this whole game. Everything else we can teach you guys pretty easy, right? You guys all know that it's on right now, but it's just getting past that internal dialogue of like, is this actually something that's real? I think if you read this book and you see the story after story after story, it's like, oh, this stuff is real. Like I could actually do this. This is actually possible. So
it's amazing. And I told Justin, I said I didn't spend the $250, but I got the $4.20 Kindle version. But I read everything on Kindle anyway. I love having the hardback copies of books. And I have all of your books on Kindle and some of the audios, but like I love what you teach in every facet of what you teach, except for I just told them a story. The first time I saw you was at the 10X Growth Conference in Miami at the stadium, right?
Okay.
And I was in one of the private suites upstairs with some clients, and I've been doing web development for 28 years. So I had some of my top clients in this private suite. And you come out and you're like, I forget how you said it, but you're like,
websites.
I've got bad news for you. Websites are dead. And I'm like, I'm looking at my clients and they're looking at me, and I'm like, he doesn't.
He's crazy. Don't believe
he doesn't know what he's talking about. Don't listen to him. Anyway, and now, and I told Robbie Summers, who was on my show, my other show, I said, dude, I get it. I totally get it now. I didn't get it. I did not get it then, but I get it now. It
you
like
makes
sense.
I love it.
So, yeah, and so talk. I know you wrote the opening. I read that, and I read Justin's chapter. But what do you hope that this book is going to do for the world?
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple of things. One, it's really fun to be able to spotlight these amazing people that are in the inner circle. Like it's like a melting pot of the coolest entrepreneurs. Everyone's businesses are so different, but it's like they're all the same heart. You know what I mean? Like we've attracted like an insanely cool group of people who are very like mission focused and driven and like impact driven, but they're all doing their own perspective spheres, right? Everyone's like I'm looking at the 5 or 6 people on this call right now. Like all your businesses are so radically different from each other. You know what I mean? And so it's cool because you get that diversity. I think the other thing, hopefully, that people really get, and this is, Justin knows this well, and Eric, because we flew out to Napoleon Hill Foundation, spent a crazy 22 hours like flying out there. But one of like Napoleon Hill's one of his laws of success that he teaches is weaved throughout every one of his books and products is the power of a mastermind. And I think that that's one of the biggest keys I hope that people understand, and I talked about this in the forward of the book. Like, I had read Think and Grow Rich. I had heard about a mastermind, and I was like, cool. I don't know what to do with that. Like, that's like, okay, cool. I'm going to talk to other people. I didn't really know how to how to make that tangible in my own mind. Yeah. And then it wasn't until I met Dan Kennedy, and Dan Kennedy sold a mastermind group. And it was like, he took this concept into Point Hill had and like turned it into an actual business model. And so, I went and signed up for his mastermind group back, man, it's probably 20 years ago now. But it was before I didn't, my business at the time was like maybe 5-figure year business. Everything I'd made to that point, I spent to get into the mastermind, but I got around all these people, and it was crazy because it was the first time that, it was a set mastermind with a facilitator. It happened 2 or 3 times a year. I'd fly to Baltimore, Maryland. I'd go meet these people, and we all had same different business. Like, there are people in the real estate market and people in stocks and people in like all these things. I was the only internet nerd in the group. And at first I was like, I'm in the wrong room. Like, I'm the only one here that, has a website or has any, like, none of these guys were doing that, but they were all doing, they had businesses doing call centers and speaking and live events and direct mail and postcards, like all these things they were doing. I was like, let me see if I can take what they're doing and apply it to my business. And as I did that, my business exploded. And so I think it's so cool because same thing, like, you look at just, if we had a conversation for the next 3 hours with just the 6 of us in here, and each of us shared one thing, like, there's such unique differences between all of our businesses that we can borrow from. Like, oh, look what Justin did over here with his supplements, because he can't run Facebook ads right now, but he was able to do this, this, and this. Like, what if I did that with my business? And like, we'd all just start picking these little pieces apart. And one idea can change everything for you guys. And I think that's the powerful thing, like understanding the concept of mastermind, but actually living it and doing it, not just, for the first 5 or 6 years, I was like, okay, I think I'm in a mastermind group. I hang out with my friends. Does that count? It's like, no. Find people that are where you want to be, where you want to become. And that's the rooms you need to get into and be involved with.
And pay, pay. Cause if you pay, you pay attention. And
for sure. And I had groups I was in that, like, it's hard when there's not somebody that's in charge, someone who's like the facilitator. Like, yeah, like, I've been in groups like, everyone's like, hey, let's go mastermind, we go hang out somewhere, and we just kind of hang out, but it always seems to fizzle out. Like, they never last, or people come once, they never come again. You don't get like the longevity of holding each other accountable, like every time you re-meet and things like that. I think having someone who's a facilitator who everyone's paying to, that like gives you the ability to focus is, for me, I paid Dan and Bill every year for 8 years till Bill, or 6 years till Bill retired, and then went and searched my next group, and it's powerful.
And I'm sure everybody got the potato gun formula.
I'm still waiting to shoot. I guess Robbie's got like this rocket launcher thing that's like high powered oxygen, or he was telling me it's like something out of like Iron Man. I'm waiting to see it.
That's so awesome. And I hear you're doing some great things with Napoleon Hill. Don Green's a friend. I love that guy. So,
he's great.
Congratulations on all of that.
You guys will see we're a few months away from rolling out some of the vision, and it's exciting. I'm really excited for it all.
That's so
Justin's been killing himself, pulling all the strings to make the whole thing go together, and it's really special. It's been really fun.
And in fact, I talked to Don today, and I think I booked your next guest on Amazon Live. I said, Don, I think because obviously and I was like, yes. Why isn't Don on here? He's got a brand new book coming out.
Yeah, I need to get Don on. I don't do a lot of these on Amazon. I do my other show, but I don't do a lot of Amazons, but I love doing them. And I loved, when Justin, I saw the book, and Justin and I are really tight. And I said, dude, why don't I have you on Amazon Live? And he's like, how about I bring 24 other authors? And I'm like, no, there's not enough room, but you can bring some. And so I think you guys were all handpicked. But
it was the first five. First five that responded.
Yeah, this has been fun. And honestly, I'm joking about the $250. It's a great investment. Like Justin said, here, let me give Justin full screen. Hold that book up so everybody can see it. But it's a $250 investment in the rest of your life. And I really do think, because I've studied everything. I think I can recite the perfect webinar like verbatim. I'm pretty sure. And so I mean, I've studied all of it, and for you guys to be in this inner circle with Russell, what a gift and a blessing for each and every one of you. And anybody anybody, I mean, you should be involved in this, definitely. So, anything else you guys want to share? I know, Russell, you didn't have a lot of time, but is there anything else you guys want to share about this book?
Well, first off, I want to know, how's the guacamole? Because we're all going to Mexico. The food's good first, but we're masterminding in Mexico to do the launch. And in order to get there, it's $25,000 or just $250 for the book. It's up
right.
Which one's the better?
1%. No, 1/10 of 1%.
Yeah, we're practicing our preach. Like I said, next week they're all flying out. We have so I have 4 coaching groups basically. We have the 2 Common Club X group, my Inner Circle, Category Kings Atlas, and so all 4 of those groups are flying out here to Mexico, and we'll be masterminding all next week. So we came out early to get the water warm and prepared, get the guacamole all ready for everybody. And my kids are here this week with us, which has been really, really fun. They're loving Mexico, running around the resort, going crazy.
That's so awesome. So awesome. How about anything else you guys want to add before we wrap up the Amazon Live?
You're just one book away and you're one funnel away. So there you go.
Truth.
Yeah, you're one decision away. Trust it. Trust the book, right? You can frame it as $250 for a book, or you can frame it as $250 investment for the stories of people who will inspire you, who will teach you that failure is not permanent, but a part of success. You will have the different mindset of different people that have done it in their field. So go for it. Trust yourself, trust ourselves, and it's going to be an amazing ride.
Amen. Dr. Justin, you have anything?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is success leaves clues in so many levels, and success is defined in 3 words. It's relationships, relationships, relationships.
Amen.
And through all these relationships we've built, and again, the group that Russell's put together, and just it's just a lot of wisdom. So I'd say soak it in, learn, be willing to not know it all, and ask for help. But just appreciate it, everyone here, and just happy to be here, and thanks for everything.
Awesome. Thank all of you for being here, and everybody on Amazon. If you watch this, the link to the book, either version of the book, is right directly below this video, and feel free to share this out to all of your social media platforms and get some other people in here to watch the replay and grab a copy of the book. Don't be, as Jeffrey Gitomer would say, should I say it?
Why not?
Don't be a cheap bastard. Get the book. All right. Hey, you guys hang on. Don't leave me. I'm going to end the live stream. But thank you to everybody who's watched, and we will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Gene, again.
Thank you.
Thanks,
We'll see ya.
everybody.
And it's out. We're out.
Nice.
Hey, that was great, you guys.
That was
I know
fun.
I
Very
said-
fun.